Welcome to Relaxing History. Leave all the noise and the rush of the day outside the door. Now, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let your mind float through the dusty but fascinating pages of history. Tonight, we embark on a peaceful journey among the shadows of the past. If you are ready, let's unlock time. Chapter 1 of 3, The Lattice and the Hydraulic Climb. Tonight, we are traveling to the City of Light, to Paris. The year is 1889. It is a crisp, cool autumn night. The city is celebrating. The Exposition Universelle is taking place. People from all over the world have come to see the machines of the future. The streets along the Seine River are bustling. The air is filled with the smell of roasted chestnuts and the faint smoke of coal. But we are leaving the crowds behind. We are walking towards the center of the Champ de Mars, towards the giant shadow that dominates the skyline. The tower. It rises out of the darkness like a mountain made of lace. 300 meters of iron, stretching up and up until it disappears into the night sky. Standing at the base of the North Pillar is a man, Gustave. He is 57 years old, with a thick white beard and eyes that are always measuring, always calculating. He looks up at his creation. Most people call it a monster. Some call it a masterpiece. To Gustave, it is simply pure mathematics made of metal. He places a gloved hand on the iron leg of the tower. The metal is cold, solid. This is puddled iron, a special type of purified iron. Strong, yet flexible. He runs his fingers over the rivets, the round metal buttons that hold the tower together. There are 2.5 million rivets in this structure. Gustave knows because he counted them. He feels a deep sense of calm touching the metal. It is immovable. It is rooted in the earth with massive concrete foundations. He walks to the private entrance of the elevator. In 1889, climbing the tower is a journey in stages. He steps into the cabin. It is not a small metal box. It is a room with varnished wooden walls and velvet seats. The operator nods to him. "Bonsoir, Monsieur Eiffel." Gustave nods back. "To the top, please." The operator pulls a heavy brass lever. Clank. Somewhere deep below the ground, massive water pumps begin to push. This is a hydraulic system, the power of water lifting them into the sky. Hiss, rumble. The cabin shudders gently and begins to rise. They move slowly at first, leaving the ground behind. Gustave looks out through the glass windows. He sees the gas lamps of the park shrinking. They turn from bright orbs into tiny yellow dots. He sees the rooftops of Paris, the zinc roofs shining gray in the moonlight. The noise of the city begins to fade. The shouting of the carriage drivers, the laughter of the tourists, the music from the cafes. It all drops away, layer by layer, replaced by the sound of the machine. whir is less than #0. 5 hash is greater than clack. Whir, clack. The rhythmic sound of the chains and pulleys. A steady, industrial lullaby. They reach the second platform. Here, they must change elevators. The journey to the summit requires a special lift. The Edu elevator. Gustave steps out onto the open platform for a moment. The wind is stronger here. Whoosh. It hits his face, cold and fresh. He is 100 meters up. The air tastes cleaner, thinner. He walks across the iron, grating. Clang, clang, step. He can see through the floor, the dark void below. For most men, this would be terrifying. But Gustave feels only safety. He knows the strength of the lattice. He knows the wind resistance coefficients. The tower is not fighting the wind. It is letting the wind pass through it. Like a sieve, it is designed to be open, to breathe. He enters the final elevator, the one that goes to the clouds. The doors close. Thump. They begin the final ascent. Up and up. The structure of the tower narrows. The iron beams come closer together. The wind outside begins to sing. It whistles through the cross braces. Oh! A high-pitched, ghostly flute song. It is the voice of the tower. Gustave leans his head back against the velvet seat. Is less than #0. 5 hash is greater than. He closes his eyes. He feels the vibration of the ascent in his spine. It is a gentle swaying motion. The tower is flexible. It moves slightly in the wind. Just a few centimeters. It is a living thing, swaying him like a baby in a cradle. Higher, past the birds, past the smoke of the chimneys, towards the stars. He checks his pocket watch. Click. The face of the watch glows in the dim light. It is almost midnight. The world below has gone to sleep. But up here, in the kingdom of iron, the night is just beginning. The elevator slows down. The hydraulics hiss one last time. Psh. A gentle bump. They have arrived. The third level. The absolute summit. Gustave opens his eyes. He stands up. He adjusts his coat. He is ready to enter his sanctuary, his secret home, floating above the world. Chapter 2 of 3. The Velvet Room in the Clouds. Gustave steps out of the elevator. The air on the observation deck is biting. It is the raw air of the high atmosphere, untouched by the warmth of the city below. The wind here is constant. It whips around the iron columns. Whoosh, slap, whoosh. It tugs at his coat. It pushes against his beard. To anyone else, this might feel dangerous. But Gustave knows the math. He knows that the pressure of the wind is actually holding the tower steady, pressing it down into its foundations. He walks along the narrow iron walkway. His boots ring out on the metal grate. Clang, clang. Below him, through the gaps in the floor, is nothing but darkness. a drop of 1,000 feet. He does not look down. He looks forward, towards a wooden door set into the steel structure. It looks like the door of a cozy country cottage, but it is bolted onto the skeleton of the tallest building in the world. Gustave reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a heavy brass key. The metal is cold against his ungloved hand. He finds the keyhole. He inserts the key. Scrape. Click. He turns it. The mechanism is well oiled. It turns smoothly. He pushes the door open. Creak. He steps across the threshold and closes the door behind him. Thud. He turns the lock. Click. The silence is instant. It is shocking. 1 second ago, the wind was screaming. The metal was groaning. The world was wild. Now, there is dead silence. The walls of the apartment are thick, insulated against the cold and the noise. The storm is still raging just a few inches away, on the other side of the wood, but it cannot enter here. Gustave stands in the dark room for a moment, letting his senses adjust. The air inside is warm, dry. It smells of furniture polish, of old paper, of velvet dust, and a faint, comforting scent of coal smoke from the small stove in the corner. He reaches out into the darkness. He knows exactly where the table is. His hand finds a box of matches. Rattle. He strikes a match. First, a burst of smell. Sulfur. A burst of light. A tiny yellow flame flares up. He brings the match to the oil lamp on the table. He lifts the glass chimney. He touches the flame to the wick. The wick catches. The fire grows. He lowers the glass. Clink. He turns the brass knob to adjust the height of the flame. A warm, golden glow expands into the room. It reveals a space that should not exist up here. It is not a laboratory. It is a living room, a salon. The walls are not cold iron. They are covered in wallpaper, a rich, intricate paisley pattern, warm reds, deep golds, soft browns. It looks like the inside of a jewelry box. Gustave takes off his heavy coat. He hangs it on a wooden rack near the door. He walks across the carpet. It is a thick Persian rug. His boots sink into the pile. Soft step. Soft step. The carpet absorbs every sound, making the room feel even quieter, even more private. He runs his hand along the back of a sofa. It is upholstered in dark velvet, soft to the touch, warm. The furniture is made of dark oak, heavy, solid. Tables with carved legs, cabinets with glass doors. It is the heavy, comforting furniture of the Victorian age, anchoring the room against the sky. In the corner stands a grand piano. It is silent tonight. The lid is closed. Gustave rests his hand on the polished black wood. It is smooth, like water, reflecting the golden light of the lamp. He imagines the music that has been played here. Gounod, Mozart, the notes floating 300 meters above the Seine. But tonight, the only music is the silence. He walks to the window. It is a large window, but the glass is thick, double-paned. He puts his face close to the glass. He can see the iron girders outside. Is less than #0. 5# is greater than lit by the moon. He can see the mist passing through the lattice, like ghosts of clouds. He can hear the wind now, but only as a distant murmur. It sounds like the ocean, or like a giant breathing. He turns away from the window, back to the warmth. He walks to his desk. This is the scientific heart of the room. Gustave is an engineer, a man of data. On the wall, there is a row of brass instruments, barometers, anemometers, thermometers. They are the guardians of the tower. He taps the glass of the barometer gently. Tap, tap. The needle quivers. It holds steady. High pressure. That means the weather will be calm. He checks the anemometer gauge. It measures the wind speed. The needle is dancing slightly. Left, right, left. Recording the gusts outside. Tick, tick, tick. The sound is rhythmic, precise. It reminds him that the tower is doing its job, resisting the elements. He walks to the small coal stove. It is glowing softly behind its iron grate. He picks up a small iron poker. He adjusts the coals. Clink, scrape. A spark flies up the chimney. The heat radiates out, hitting his legs, hitting his hands. It is a dry, intense heat. Here, in the middle of the freezing atmosphere, is less than #0. 5# is greater than he is toasting warm. He looks around his domain. There are oil paintings on the walls, landscapes of the French countryside. There are heavy curtains gathered at the windows, tassels of gold thread hanging down. There are books stacked on the tables, engineering journals, poetry, maps. It is a fortress of civilization. He built a mountain of steel. And then, at the very top, he built a nest, a place where the logic of engineering meets the comfort of home. He feels a deep sense of ownership. The thousands of people below, the tourists, the critics, they see the iron. But only he sees the wallpaper. Only he feels the velvet. Only he hears the silence of the summit. He sits down in one of the large armchairs. The springs creak softly, squeak, sigh. The chair hugs him. He rests his head back. He looks up at the ceiling. The lamp casts long dancing shadows. The shadows of the tassels. The shadows of the instruments. They sway gently, reminding him that the whole room is moving, ever so slightly, rocking in the wind. It is not a scary motion. It is a hypnotic motion, like a ship on a very calm sea. Left, right, back, forth, Gustave takes a deep breath of the warm air. He is the highest man in Paris. He is the highest man in the world, and he is the most comfortable. He watches the flame of the oil lamp. Steady, golden, quiet. He is ready to let the day go. Chapter 3 of 3. The swaying cradle of steel. Gustave rises slowly from the velvet armchair. The springs whisper one last time as he stands up. Creak. The warmth of the coal stove has soaked into his bones. He feels heavy, relaxed. But before he rests, he has one last ritual. The ritual of the guardian. He walks to the window again. He pulls back the heavy paisley curtain just an inch. He looks down. Paris is spread out below him like a map drawn in fire. The Ville Lumière, the city of light. He sees the long, straight boulevards designed by housemen. They are rivers of amber light. He sees the Seine, a ribbon of black silk winding through the city, reflecting the moon. He sees the tiny, moving dots of carriages, people rushing home from the opera, people rushing to late dinners. They are so small, so busy. From up here, their hurry seems meaningless. Up here, time moves differently. It moves at the speed of the wind. He lets the curtain fall back into place. Swish, blocking out the world. He is done with the city for tonight. He walks to the small bedroom alcove. It is separated from the main salon by a glass partition. It is a modest space, just enough room for a bed and a washstand. He pours some water from a porcelain pitcher into a bowl. The water is cool. He splashes his face. Splash. It wakes up his skin, but calms his mind. He dries his face with a thick cotton towel. The fabric is rough and clean. He begins to undress. He unbuttons his waistcoat. Pop, pop, pop. He takes off his stiff collar. He places his cufflinks on the marble side table. Click, clack. The sound is sharp in the quiet room. He puts on his nightshirt. Long, white flannel. It is soft and warm against his skin. He turns towards the bed. It is not a royal bed like a king's. It is an engineer's bed. Functional, sturdy, but exceedingly comfortable. There is a thick feather mattress, topped with crisp linen sheets, and a heavy quilt, stuffed with eiderdown. He pulls back the covers. The sheets are cool to the touch. He climbs in. The mattress sinks under his weight, holding him. He pulls the heavy quilt up to his shoulders. He wiggles his feet until they find a warm spot. He lies on his back, his head resting on two large, fluffy pillows. He reaches out his hand to the bedside table. The oil lamp is burning there. Its flame is the only light left in the room. He turns the small brass wheel, lowering the wick. The golden light shrinks, smaller and smaller, until it is just a blue speck. And then, gone. Darkness fills the room immediately, but slowly, his eyes adjust. The moonlight outside is bright enough to penetrate the curtains. It casts a pale silver glow across the foot of his bed. It lights up the brass instruments on the wall. The barometer glimmers in the dark. Now that the light is gone, his other senses take over. He listens. The wind is singing its song outside. Hoo, whoosh. It is a constant, low roar, like being inside the belly of a whale swimming through the ocean of the sky. He hears the metal of the tower reacting. Tiny sounds. A creak here. A groan there. The steel is contracting in the cold night air. It is the tower talking to him, telling him it is holding strong. And then he feels it. The sway. The Eiffel Tower is designed to move. It is flexible. The wind pushes against the top, and the tower yields just a few inches. Gustave lies perfectly still, and he feels his bed moving. It is not a shake. It is not a vibration. It is a long, slow arc, leaning gently to the left, and then slowly returning to the right. It is a period of several seconds. Sway. Return. Sway. Return is less than #0. 5# is greater than. It is the largest cradle in the world. 300 meters of iron, rocking him to sleep. He closes his eyes. He imagines the roots of the tower, deep in the damp earth of the Champ de Mars. Massive concrete blocks anchoring the feet. He imagines the 4 legs rising up, meeting, joining, supporting him. He is safe. The storm can rage outside. The wind can howl. But the math is perfect. The rivets hold. He is suspended in the safest place in Paris. His breathing aligns with the movement of the tower. In, lean, out, return. The smell of the coal smoke fades. The smell of the ozone from the storm takes over. His thoughts begin to dissolve. The blueprints, the calculations, the iron tonnage, they all float away into the night sky. He is just a man in a boat of steel, sailing through the clouds, drifting on the wind. The rocking gets gentler. The sounds get softer. The darkness gets deeper, drifting, swaying, sleeping, high above the world, in the quiet of the clouds. Sleep.